Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're listening, you're clearly curious about healthcare, where it is now, and more importantly, where it's headed.
Yeah, and you've given us some really interesting material to work with this time.
We have. We've got transcripts covering AI and medical research, empathetic care, which is crucial, the future of medicine generally, AI's specific role in health, future jobs in the sector, and even a rundown of top health tech.
It's quite a mix.
Definitely. So our mission today is basically to sift through all this, pull out the key insights about healthcare's present and future, and give you a clear picture without, drowning you in detail.
Exactly. Let's connect those dots and see what really matters from these different perspectives. It's fascinating how they often point in similar directions.
Okay, let's start with the now. What's the current state of play in healthcare based on these sources? What are the big themes popping up?
Well, one thing you just can't avoid is the aging population. Simple fact is, people are living longer, and that naturally means a bigger demand for healthcare, especially services focused on keeping older adults healthy. This comes up specifically when they talk about future jobs. Clearly a growing need there.
Makes sense. More years often mean more health needs, potentially. But it feels like it's not just about managing illness in older people, is it? There's a shift happening.
Precisely. You're spot on. Several sources really hammer home this growing focus on overall well-being. So that's physical and mental health. And there's a definite move towards being proactive, preventing illness instead of just reacting to it once it happens.
So more prevention, less just fixing things after they break.
Exactly. This idea shows up when they discuss empathy and care and also the kinds of jobs we'll need more of. It suggests a real change in mindset.
Okay, so keeping people healthy is becoming the bigger goal. Now, with all this amazing tech we're going to talk about, is there still room for, the human touch?
Or absolutely. That's a huge point in the readings about empathy and even the ones about AI. It's critical. Despite all the shiny new tech, that core human element, the relationship between the professional and the patient, built on empathy, trust, that's still fundamental. Technology should help that relationship, not replace it.
That's reassuring, actually. It's easy to get wowed by the tech and forget it's people caring for people, ultimately. So, thinking about the now again, what problems are these future innovations trying to fix? What are the current headaches?
Well, the sources mention a few big ones. Traditional medical research, developing new drugs. It's incredibly complex.
Right.
It takes ages, often more than a decade, and the costs are just, staggering. This keeps coming up when they talk about AI's potential, suggesting there's a real push to find better ways.
Yeah, that slow, expensive pipeline is a major bottleneck. So enter AI. It sounds like it's going to be a game changer here.
It really does look that way. One of its biggest impacts is speeding up research and discovery dramatically. AI algorithms can just crunch through unbelievable amounts of data, way more than any human team could, and much faster. They spot patterns, trends, things vital for breakthroughs.
Okay, like a superpowered data detective finding clues we'd miss. Can you give a concrete example of that speed?
Sure, think about drug development. Like we said, usually slow and pricey, but AI can screen thousands, even millions of potential drug compounds really quickly.
Wow.
It identifies promising candidates much, much earlier. A key example was with COVID-19, AI helped rapidly scan existing drugs to see if any might work against the virus. That cuts down that initial search time massively, years potentially.
That's huge. Saves time, saves money. What else? Diagnostics come up too, right? AI helping doctors diagnose?
Yes, definitely. AI is getting remarkably good at improving diagnostic accuracy and speed. Machine learning algorithms are trained on these enormous sets of medical images, X-rays, MRIs, mammograms, and by learning from all that data, they can often spot really subtle signs of disease, like early cancers, sometimes even better than the human eye. And the sources stress this, it's meant to assist clinicians, not replace them. Think of it as a super reliable second opinion.
An incredibly sharp-eyed assistant, yeah. They mentioned that Google Health algorithm for breast cancer specifically. How does that one work?
That uses deep learning, which is a pretty sophisticated AI type.
Yeah.
It was trained on tons and tons of mammograms, some cancerous, some clear.
Okay.
And through that training, it learned to pick up on tiny patterns, anomalies indicating cancer that might be really hard for a person to spot consistently. The potential is earlier detection, better accuracy.
That's massive for early detection, which we know is key. What about tailoring treatments? Personalized medicine, that was another big theme.
Absolutely. AI is crucial for making truly personalized medicine happen. It analyzes a whole range of patient data, genetics, lifestyle, medical history, and based on that, the AI can help predict how that specific patient might respond to a particular treatment. So doctors can recommend therapies tailored just for them, boosting success rates and hopefully cutting down side effects.
It really sounds like AI is weaving itself into almost every part of future healthcare. But it wasn't just AI in the sources, was it? There were other big technologies mentioned too.
No, you're absolutely right. Genomics, for instance. It's closely tied to AI, but it's a huge field in itself. Analyzing our unique genetic code gives so much information, disease risk, best treatments.
And AI helps make sense of all that genetic data.
Exactly. Genomic sequencing produces massive data sets. AI is essential for finding those specific genetic variations linked to diseases, especially complex ones like cancer.
So understanding our genes is key, and AI unlocks that. What else? Nanotechnology that sounds tiny but powerful.
It really is. We're talking about manipulating stuff at the atomic or molecular level. In medicine, imagine tiny robots delivering drugs directly to cancer cells, leaving healthy cells alone. That could mean way more effective treatment with fewer side effects. Plus, it has uses in diagnostics, making super sensitive tests and creating better materials for implants.
Tiny drug delivery bots. Fascinating. And gene therapy. I've heard about CRISPR. Is that related?
Yes. CRISPR is a specific kind of revolutionary gene editing tool within that broader field. The whole idea of gene therapy is to fix or replace faulty genes that cause diseases.
So actually correcting the genetic problem.
That's the goal. It's still pretty early days for a lot of applications, lots of research happening, but the promise is enormous, potentially curing inherited diseases.
Mind-blowing potential. Stem cell therapy was also mentioned. How does that fit in?
That's all about regenerative medicine. Stem cells are amazing because they can develop into many different cell types. So the idea is to use them to repair or replace damaged tissues. Think heart disease, spinal cord injuries, maybe even things like Parkinson's.
So actually repairing the body instead of just managing symptoms. Another huge leap. Okay, switching gears a bit, VR and AR. Virtual and augmented reality. I think of gaming, not medicine.
Yeah. But their medical uses are growing fast. VR creates these immersive worlds that are great for rehabilitation, physical therapy, but also mental health, like helping people overcome phobias or PTSD in a safe space.
Okay, I can see that.
And AR, augmented reality, overlays digital info onto the real world. Imagine a surgeon seeing a patient's vital signs or MRI data projected right onto their view during an operation. It boosts precision, safety.
That's clever, bringing digital info right where it's needed. What about wearables? Smartwatches, fitness trackers? Everyone seems to have one.
Yep, wearables and the whole Internet of Things concept are big for remote patient monitoring. These devices track health data continuously.
Right.
That gives doctors real-time insights, helps spot problems early, manage chronic conditions like diabetes or heart issues proactively, could keep people out of the hospital.
Our watches becoming our health guardians. Now, something that sounds really futuristic, 3D printing organs, bioprinting.
Yeah, that one's definitely still emerging, but the potential is incredible. The idea is to use a patient's own cells to print custom organs or tissues.
Using their own cells.
Exactly. That would solve the organ donor shortage and pretty much eliminate transplant rejection risk. We're not printing whole hearts just yet, but they're making real progress with simpler tissues, even parts of organs.
Still sounds like science fiction. Telemedicine also came up. It's become way more common lately, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Delivering healthcare remotely via tech, it boomed during the pandemic, obviously, but it increases access, convenience, especially for people in rural areas or with mobility issues. And you even see new jobs popping up, like the Technico and Telemedicina mentioned in one source, showing how embedded it's becoming.
Bringing the doctor to your living room, basically. And one more, pharmacogenomics. Sounds complicated.
It sounds it, but the idea is pretty straightforward. It's about how your specific genes affect how you respond to medications.
Oh, okay.
Understanding that means doctors can prescribe drugs that are more likely to work well for you and less likely to cause bad reactions. More personalized, safer prescriptions.
So much of this points towards care that's really tailored, really proactive. With all this tech coming, what happens to the people? The doctors, nurses, are robots taking over?
No, that's a really consistent message across the sources.
Yeah?
Technology's role is growing massively, yes, but human professionals remain essential. Critically important.
Okay, good.
The emphasis is really on AI and tech as tools. Tools to help humans do their jobs better, augment their skills, not replace that vital human connection and judgment.
That's good to hear. But are the types of jobs changing? Are new roles emerging?
Yes, definitely. We already mentioned the telemedicine technician. Others highlighted include genetic counselors helping people understand complex genetic test results.
Makes sense.
Bioinformaticians, the people who analyze all this biological data. Geneticists, of course. Mental health therapists, a huge growing need. Quality of life managers. Even roles like physical therapists and speech therapists remain vital. And one source even mentioned a genetic hacker.
A genetic hacker? What's that?
Sounds dramatic, right? But it likely refers to experts using genetic information proactively to predict, prevent, and fight diseases at the genetic level. Very cutting edge.
Wow. So it sounds like a mix of biology and tech skills is going to be key.
Absolutely. Future healthcare pros won't just need their clinical skills, they'll need to be comfortable with technology, understand AI, work alongside these systems. Digital literacy is becoming non-negotiable.
It really feels like it all comes back to balance, doesn't it? Balancing the amazing high tech with that essential high-touch human side of care. That focus on empathy came through strongly.
It did. That's so important. The future can't just be about gadgets. It has to keep prioritizing empathy, connection, and looking at the whole person, physical and mental health together. Things like animal therapy or designing more calming healthcare spaces, they're part of that holistic, human-centered vision.
So the picture we're getting of healthcare now and looking ahead is incredibly dynamic. It's not tech versus humans, but tech enabling humans to understand more, act faster, and deliver more personalized, effective care.
Precisely. This deep dive shows this amazing convergence of innovation and deeper biological understanding. It really offers hope for more precise, personalized healthcare and ultimately, better health and well-being for all of us.
So for everyone listening, as you process all this, what really jumps out at you? Which of these changes feels most significant, maybe for your own health or just for society? Definitely gives us a lot to think about, and hopefully this dive has given you a good map for navigating what's coming.